We are greatly overextended.
Governments are instituted by man.
This applies, unfortunately, to the people in our country as well as to the government.
Safety and happiness.
Urgently necessary.
It is their right and their duty.
We recognize our own limitations.
Unalienable rights.
We have 50% of the world's wealth, but only 6.3% of its population.
Deriving from just powers from the consent of the governed.
Object of envy and resentment.
It is their duty to throw off such government.
We are deceiving ourselves and others when we pretend to have the answers to the problems which agitate these people.
As to them shall be most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
This process of adaptation cannot be a liberal or peaceful one.
That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends.
We should stop putting ourselves in the position of being our brother's keeper.
Despotism.
Brother's keeper.
Governments.
Long and violent.
Object evidences of a design to reduce them under absolute.
We will have to dispense with all sentimentality.
Prudence, indeed.
We need not deceive ourselves. We can afford today altruism or world benefaction.
We hold these truths.
50% of the world's wealth.
Self-evident.
6.3% of the world's population.
All men are created equal.
The less we are then hampered by idealistic slogans, the better.
Guards for their future security.
The day is not far off when we are going to have to deal in straight power concepts.
As to them shall be most likely
Deceiving ourselves.
long established.
The process of adaptation.
Light and transcendent.
We should stop talking about
Creator with certain rights.
unreal objectives.
We hold truth to these to be self-evident.
Unreal objectives such as human rights.
Form of government become destructive.
Unreal objectives such as raising the standards of living.
Governments long established should not be changed.
Unreal objectives such as democratization.
Then to right themselves by abolishing.
We must dispense with all sentimentality.
Mankind are most disposed to suffer.
We have to dispense with all daydreaming.
Indeed, we will dedicate the governments long established.
We need not deceive ourselves.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations
We should dispense with the aspiration to be liked,
throw off such government,
or to be regarded as a repository of high-minded altruism.
it is their right.
6.3% of the world's population.
It is their duty.
50% of the world's wealth.
Secure these rights.
Permit us to maintain a position of disparity without detriment to our security.
Form of government becomes destructive.
The day is not far off.
Life and liberty.
We are going to have to deal in straight power concepts.
Their creator.
We could not hope to combat it.
The pursuit of happiness.
Urgently necessary, we recognize our limitations.
Laying its foundation on such principles.
Maintaining position of disparity.
Organizing its powers.
Moral and ideological force.
All experience hath shewn.
Better off to dispense now with a number of concepts.
As to them shall seem most likely.
Underlined our thinking.
Despotism.
We should stop putting ourselves in the position of being our brother's keeper.
Guards for their future.
Brother's keeper.
Creator with certain rights.
Luxury of altruism.
Men in power.
Luxury of world benefaction.
Form of government.
50% of the world's wealth.
As to them, it should be most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
We should dispense with the aspiration to be liked.
Evil.
high-minded,
long train of abuses,
vague,
pursuing invariably the same object.
unreal objectives,
It is their right and their duty.
under the influence of Moscow,
All men are created equal,
6.3% of its population, 50% of its wealth,
that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
object of envy and resentment.
That whenever any form of government becomes destructive,
Our real task is devising a pattern of relationships which permits us
to secure their rights,
to maintain position of disparity,
safety, and happiness.
National objectives.
Throw off such government.
The less we are then hampered by idealistic slogans, the better.
Safety and happiness.
Resentment and envy.
Unalienable rights.
6.3% of its unreal goal of democratization.
Governments are instituted among men.
This process will also be long and violent.
Abolishing the forms in which they are accustomed.
It cannot be liberal or peaceful.
Pursuing invariably the same object.
50% of the world's wealth.
Throw off such government.
The day is not far off.
Men.
When?
Form of government.
Straight power concept.
Destructive.
Despotism.
Safety and happiness.
Democratization.
Provide new guards for their future.
The unreal objectives such as human rights, the raising of living standards, and democratization.
While evils are sufferable.
Furthermore, we have 50% of the world's wealth, but only 6.3% of its population. In this situation, we cannot fail to be the object of envy and resentment.
Laying its foundation on such principles.
Our real task in the coming period is devising a pattern of relationships which permits us to maintain this position of disparity.
Organizing its powers in such form.
Without positive detriment to our national security.
All men are created equal.
To do so, we'll have to dispense with sentimentality.
Endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights.
And daydreaming.
Liberty.
Our attention will have to be concentrated everywhere on our immediate national objectives.
That among these are life.
We need not deceive ourselves. We can afford today
Pursuit of happiness.
luxury of altruism.
Governments long established should not be changed.
This process of adaptation will also be long and violent.
Accordingly, all experience it has shown
That we control 50% of the world's wealth and 6.3% of its population.
it is their right and their duty.
To maintain the pattern of disparity.
To throw off such government.
Hampered by idealistic slogans.
We hold this truth and to be self-evident.
We are greatly overextended in our whole thinking about what we can accomplish and should try to accomplish in that area.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men.
This applies, unfortunately, to the people in our country as well as the government.
All men are created equal.
We have about 50% of the world's wealth, but 6.3% of its population.
Creator with certain unalienable rights, among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Unreal objectives such as human rights, the raising of living standards, and democratization.
Mankind are more disposed to suffer.
It is unstoppable.
People to alter or abolish it.
The less we are then hampered by idealistic slogans, the better.
Laying its foundation on principles.
Hold. Relax. I still want to watch you guys. And
I'm like this, I'm like, no, go back to reading.
I liked, can we do the, again, what was that?
Yeah.
That was the other way. It was like.
No, it was like that and then like that. But like it wasn't like you were on my hand. I don't know. I felt like we were both leading at the same time.
Yeah, no, I know. I just can't remember if it was in or if it was out. Either way, there was like a long repetition period where we did that.
Here's my video.